Alright, so today I finally want to get around to doing another community video. I skipped over last month's due to the whole Griffin and Testing Grounds build-up stage, but now that we've all had plenty of time to play with Griffin and we all remember the Testing Grounds, here we are. Sorry I haven't really been uploading recently. I've been spending all of my For Honor time streaming on Twitch instead. There's a link in the description if you're interested in that. I'd really appreciate it if you followed my page over there. Anyways, if you're new here, a community video is where I ask you guys to send me a bunch of questions or statements regarding For Honor, and I answer them right here in a video. These are still my favorite videos to make, and I'm glad that you guys still take a little bit of time out of your day to send me stuff and watch these videos. And just before we begin, I do hope that you all had good holidays, and I'm wishing you all a happy new year. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Starting things off, we've got D-Rip Gami. Wow, I literally just fought against you in matchmaking, probably 25 minutes ago. Anyways, D-Rip says, we know that we're getting a year 5, but what would you like to see UB do for year 5? New heroes, or maybe they can take a year and a half to improve the state of balance and maybe work on other features of the game. Personally, I'd like to see a year of rebalancing. Yeah, so we are aware that UB does plan on working on the game to some extent heading into year 5, which we talked about a month ago, I believe. There are a lot of things I want to see happen in year 5, and I'll go deeper into this topic in my yearly things I want to see video, but off the top, I'd like to see some feat changes to the renown system as a whole, a few hero changes of course. Then there are, things like a new Dominion map. It's been a long while since we've seen a new Dominion map. Dominion is one of the most played game modes by far. No, it is the most played game mode by far. And by adding at least one new unique map, you'd be making a lot of people happy. I know a lot of people aren't fans, but I'd love to see a Wulin themed Dominion map. Belvedere and Qing Pass are some of my favorite looking maps and what I think are some of the best looking maps in the game. And I think UB would do a great job with a Dominion map as well. If not a new map, I'd be okay with a few more map reworks. Every time a map is reworked, it makes it a lot more enjoyable to play on, like Beachhead and Overwatch. I'd like to see, Forge be worked on if I had to pick another. In terms of things that don't connect directly to gameplay, I would love to see cross progression. Where there's a will, there's a way. Nowadays, it's more important than ever. Not everyone is going to move within their console families. Some people won't even be upgrading to a new console. They may invest into a new PC and play games over there. The game's been going on for 4 years. Those who spent time and money on the game should at least be able to carry over their stuff. But yeah, I'll go into this much more in my yearly wish list. New heroes and whatnot would be cool, but I'm not sure if we're even going to see new heroes this year, so upgrades would be neat too. Next up, Beluga Whale says, the introduction of Griffin as a character is proof that factions should just be abolished entirely in favor of one roster. Griffin and Warmonger aren't really knights, they just have good armor. This would allow UB to introduce more cultures into the game without having to work on a whole new faction. Also, they could finally rework the faction war to have factions based on ideals rather than culture. So when the Year of Reckoning began, we had started talking about this idea and how we could have seen a shift towards idealistic factions rather than the current 4 faction system we have now, just to, spice things up with Warmonger and Griffin. We now know that that didn't happen, but I think it would have been a fun little thing. I think that a lot would need to go into it though, especially if they were going to shift everything away from what we already have and truly switch up the factions. If it was just for appearances, who really cares? But if it was taken seriously, orders would finally need to be changed. The Wulin could have got some orders, faction outlines could have been changed. Honestly, I don't really mind which way they could have went. It would have been okay to see idealistic factions, but I'm also fine with the 4 faction system. Ahoy Toy says, after these years of updating content, do you think the game is the best it can be? Like if support ended right now, would you be satisfied? With the shift of combat being more fast paced, heroes being less blank slates than the OG ones, them leaning into more silly stuff, a focus on events rather than tuning untouched stuff like Tribute, the Battle Pass edition, hero rework rate, etc. Personally, I'm pretty happy with the game. I just miss minion kill animations and really wish the voice response system was still in the game. I definitely don't think the game is the best that it can be, but as I said before, if the game were to stop receiving support this very second, I'd be happy with where it was. We were watching some Season 1 gameplay on my stream last night, and watching even a few fights from back then makes you realize how far this game has come. I mean, if you've got spare time, take a look at some Season 1 gameplay and you'll immediately see how different things are. I like the shift to faster combat, for the most part, and the character side of Heroes are a toss-up. As for the game leaning into sillier stuff, I don't mind it too much. However, I do prefer the more serious things, especially, back when we got unique things for every hero. Again, me saying this doesn't mean that I think everyone should enjoy what the game is nowadays. If you don't like the way the game is played nowadays, all power to you, but I play it and get enjoyment out of it as long as I don't play it for too long and burn myself out. Next up, Jared Patullo says, would you pay money for cosmetics in the vein of elite outfits from Rainbow Six Siege? Say around $10 for a skin that drastically changes the look and feel of a character without Ubi having to make a new hero or make any balance changes. Something like a Spartan outfit for Valk or Warhammer and Badass for scale armor for Lawbringer. Possibilities are pretty endless and would be significantly easier than a new hero, which, let's face it, isn't really feasible for Ubi anymore. Okay, so I've mentioned this as a possibility if this title ever became free to play. I was wondering how many people would really be interested in the game going 100% free to play, but there would be more exclusive microtransactions like premium or elite skins from Rainbow Six. The reaction was pretty split. First thing, if they were to ever do this, we'd need to see the rest of the heroes receive their, unique new sets. And also I'd need to know if we'd be receiving variants of armor like we already do. If yes, and we still got content at a regular rate that we acquired, back in the day, then sure. Totally cosmetic, of course, and if the content is worth the price, I'm all for it. I hardly ever purchase cosmetics with cash, as I never really feel like it's worth it. For me to be spending around $10 on a skin, it would need to come with a totally unique effect, signature, weapon, armor, and maybe even a finisher. For Honor has the benefit of being third person at all times, unlike first person shooters, so I feel it'd be more valuable here, but I am pretty stingy when it comes to cosmetic purchases. I don't hate the idea, but it would need to be an addition to what we receive rather than a replacement, and as you said, it all comes down to quality. Luke says, do you think every faction will have the same number of heroes by the time For Honor is done, or do you think it'll be uneven like it is now? Okay, so there are 9 Knights, 7 Vikings, 7 Samurai, and 5 Wulin. We need 8 heroes, 2 for Samurai and Vikings, and 4 for the Wulin. I do not see that happening. If we got 4 heroes a year, we'd need 2 more years. If we got 2 heroes a year, we would need 4 more years. I don't see For Honor going on that much longer, or at least this game. I think we have a higher chance of seeing another title, to be honest with you. Of course, we don't really know what's going to happen yet. We don't know if we'll even be receiving more heroes in this upcoming year. Everything's sort of just up in the air, and I don't think we are going to hear anything for, the next few weeks, but we'll have to wait. But yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing 9 heroes from each faction before this game is finished. Next up, there were a lot of questions like this one, so I won't just pick one, but rather respond to them all. One of them says, I was of the idea that continuous support of For Honor instead of a For Honor 2, but this year made me change my mind. I was curious to see where you stand at the moment. If you've been around for a while, you know my stance on this will never change. A new title will always be what I'd like to see from For Honor going forward. I think that this IP as a whole is too good to waste, and I believe there are many limitations when it comes to this game in particular. Also, Ubi didn't really know what would happen with this game. They didn't know how people would play. They didn't know how to create a great hero at that time, which maps worked best, what people wanted out of a game like this, so on and so on. But now, after almost 4 years, they know what works for the most part, what doesn't. They've had years of feedback and have gotten data from players of all skill levels, from the tip top to the bottom. It would also feel almost like a clean slate and get people interested or re-interested in For Honor. You know, a brand new game, new heroes, maybe new factions or modes, a hopefully stable game that's improved upon its previous title, maybe new additions to the Art of Battle system, you know, stuff like that. Of course, I haven't really been a fan of supporting you know, a game for 3 to 4 years in the first place, so maybe I'm biased, but yeah, I would love to see another title. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. Thanks to those of you who have made it this far, especially since I haven't posted in 2 weeks. I'll try to upload more frequently on YouTube, but as you can all see, there's not too much going on in For Honor, and I personally like to cover newer things rather than talk about just whatever like I used to. And as I said, most of my spare time is spent streaming on Twitch. Again, I'll leave a link in the description. Anyways, as always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.